everyone. Welcome to Power, Peace, and Love, where real stories of real people are shared. I'm Irma Vera, and today I have the honor to present Mrs. Virginia herself. Thank you very much, ShaNita Nolan. She's an author, leadership coach, self love sensei, mentor, and founder of Love Under New Management Movement. ShaNita, thank you very much for being here. Welcome to Power, Peace, and Love.
Thank you so much. It's my privilege, my purpose, and an honor to be here with you and your audience. I'm super excited.
Thank you very much. And first of all, we want to ask you, how are you? How's the family? And how are things in Virginia right now? Because I know you're in Virginia, obviously. And I love your crown. I
Thank
love
you.
that you dress the part for us. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. My family and I are wonderful, Irma. Thank you so much for asking. As you know, there's a lot going on, and so we are adjusting and we're finding what our role is in this, when these particular circumstances, and how we can add value and make a difference and help in our communities and across the world, and just encourage and give hope to others. So we're looking at, we realize it's all about perspective. So in our perspective, we look at everything pretty much as an opportunity, from our youngest daughter, who is 18, who recently graduated. So we had a big event in our neighborhood, a parade. So that was really wonderful. And I was glad that our community recognized the importance of recognizing our 2020 graduates who didn't get to have a traditional graduation, but we celebrated them all the same. So she's doing well. She's adjusting. It was very difficult, as you might imagine, but she understands that everything's for a purpose, and so she's doing well.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Yes, we have a situation over here with all the graduates. They had to be a little bit postponed. Some of them already happened, but yes, absolutely. It's understandable.
Yes. And we're still actually in a stay-at-home order. We just started phase 1 last Friday for our community. And so we're just kind of waiting, for the governor to see if there's any significant impacts from just the partial reopening. So a lot of people are still working at home, and things haven't gotten back to where they were. So
yes. Well, we hope that this situation soon gets behind in our life, because we need to move on somehow. But it will take time, probably.
Yes.
Yes. And ShaNita, you are Chief Servant Leader of Circle of Trust Leadership.
Yes.
What exactly is that, and what do you guys do?
Circle of Trust Leadership is a personal growth, professional and leadership development, consulting, and communications company. And what we do is we help organizations to basically build their teams and to bring more consensus across the area of leadership, and to be able to have their leadership teams to be transformed. We look at their emerging leaders, and we take them from the beginning of the process of growing and developing their leadership skills. Because what we found is that those newer supervisors they need greater support in understanding what their role is. And then we need each individual in the organization to understand their value and how they can also become productive members of the team and understand their personal mission, as well as contribute to the mission of the organization. So that's primarily what we do as a whole.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Very interesting. And also, I read this in your resume, which is pretty, intense, and it's beautiful. That you have found a movement where you coach and liberates women from the bondage of self criticism and self judgment. Why do you think That's the main reason that that problem is so common.
You're right, Irma. It is very common. It's a universal issue that exists amongst women, and primarily it's because we don't know and love ourselves. And loving ourselves is the foundation of every relationship that we have. And so we have to spend the time and be introspective and get to know and love ourselves. We're so busy giving out love and seeking love, but in the meantime, we're ignoring ourselves and not understanding our own intrinsic value and worth, and understanding that the world didn't give us that value and they can't take it away. So it's not about what other people say or even the lies that we tell ourselves, because we've embraced what everybody else has told us. We have to take the time to get to know and make ourselves our own soulmate and put love under new management and take ownership, responsibility for ourselves, our growth, our transformation, our healing, everything and begins and ends with us. And when we become our best version, then we can go out and give all the love that we want to give to other people. But it begins with us. Understanding who we are, understanding how we became and arrived to the place where we are today, like our beginnings, understanding our history, not being stuck there, but just understanding all of the components, all of the circumstances and the situations that made us into the women that we are today. And then being kind to ourselves and saying, it's okay. We made some mistakes along the way, but that's a part of life. That's how we grow. That's how we transform. And spending time with ourselves, especially with COVID-19, that is the most difficult time for a lot of women. Not just some are extroverts, some are introverts like me, but just spending time with yourself day by day by day. Some of us busy ourselves with so many different things because we don't want to take the time to be alone with ourselves, but we need to have that time to ask ourselves the difficult questions, to have those personal experiences with ourselves and really get to know ourselves inside and out. And so that we can really begin to create healthy barriers, to understand our values, and really to grow. And then we can begin to ask for the things that we deserve. We can begin to say no to things that don't serve us and to really become who we were created to and purposed to be. And know that we're amazing, we're beautiful, we're worthy of love, we are love. And so that is my mission, to be able to do that, because at one point I was one of those women. I didn't have anybody to tell me that I could be, do, and have more. So I bought into what everybody else perception was of me, and even who they thought I should be, what I should be doing, where I should be going, what I should be saying. It was everybody else's words, not my own. And I had my own destiny and desired place that I needed to be, because that was why I was created in the first place. But I didn't know that, because I didn't really know that I was worthy, because I believed what other people said. But now I've taken back that power and I understand who I am. I understand my royalty and my excellence. I understand who I am as a woman. And so now I'm bold enough and assertive enough to demand what I deserve and nothing less.
Wow, it's beautiful. Those and this bring me, to this group of people that I got to hear not long ago, and this is young people. You know,
Mhm.
is this mostly showing in younger generations and young women, young people?
Yeah, it starts at an early age, believe it or not. This all started at a very early age. I had very low self-esteem. Ironically, with everything that's going on, my mother was actually a member of the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee that was part of the Civil Rights era. So she was one of those students who was beat, who was, the dogs were sicked on her. She had water cannons put on her, and she was jailed because she was advocating for the rights of those that were disenfranchised, the marginalized, the oppressed, to make a difference and to make the world better. So she instilled those same values in my brother and I. And while I had no problems advocating or defending someone else, when it came to myself, I didn't use my voice to speak up for myself because I didn't want to offend anyone. Now, if it was in the workplace, oh, I would advocate for myself. But when it became my friends and acquaintances and things like that, and even my family members, my voice, there was no voice. I just accepted and tolerated whatever because I didn't want to offend anyone, or I was afraid, or whatever different excuses or reasons that I had at the time. I didn't know that I was doing myself a disservice, that my voice is not just for me, I mean, for others, it's for me too. That's why I have the voice. I have to be able to be confident. I have to be able to teach people how to treat me and to speak up and ask for the things that I need and demand the things that I deserve.
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely. That is beautiful. Yes. We need women like your mother. Always be advocating for these things that we women need the power to
Yeah.
stand up for ourselves. Yes. Uh, and I had to ask you this, because it comes to the topic. What is your take about the current events, about what's going on around the world, racism, police abuse of power? What is your take?
Well, my take is that in this world, we have the best of humanity and we have the worst of humanity. And we have a set of circumstances. And the way that I see it, what's going on right now, we're dealing with two pandemics. We have the pandemic of racism and then the COVID-19. And what we're seeing, it's not new. It's just become more evident and more visual to the world because we have social media, we have cameras on our phones and all of these different things. And then most of us was at home. So we were able to see in real time what was happening in the form of police brutality. And the way that I look at it is that we have been given this privilege to vote. We cannot change the hearts and minds of people, but we can certainly be an example. We can certainly exercise tough mindedness where we advocate for justice, where we advocate for accountability and peace. But at the same time, we have to be tenderhearted. We have to show love and not be self-critical and self-judgmental, because it's easy to be like that. It's easy to be like the one that we believe is oppressing us. But we can be difference makers. It's an opportunity for us to mobilize and to come together and to have real deep conversations, not surface level conversations where there's real listening going on both sides, and where others can really be able to understand the plight of brown and black people in the world and what we are contending with on a daily basis, because many people thought it was a myth that we weren't really dealing with these things. And as an African American woman, I've dealt with racism and discrimination on my job. As a woman, I was discriminated because I was a woman. And on top of that, I was discriminated because I was an African American. There was times when I was the only woman in a leadership role, or I was the only woman and African American in a leadership role. And I know what it feels like. I've seen how my mother, even being 23 years serving in the US Army, how she was discriminated against. And as I mentioned earlier, she was part of the civil rights era where she was beaten, jailed, and experienced all of those different things. So I understand that that is our plight, but I also understand that we have to take ownership and responsibility. We have to use our voice and we have to use our vote. And one thing that we can really do is really begin to understand that these things, our voice and our vote, really needs to be used at the local and state levels, not just when we have a presidential election, but even at those levels, because at those local levels, you're you're voting for your superintendents of schools, your police chiefs, and all these other positions that are not at the national level, but many people don't take advantage of that opportunity to vote. And so if we can't change minds, which really the only people we have control over is ourselves, so we can try and attempt to have these dialogues, but if they go nowhere, then what are we left to do? We have to be able to use the power of the pen. We have to write to our senators and our congressmen. We have to be able to use the power of the vote, use our voice, mobilize, educate, enrich, and do all that we can collectively to make a difference and make changes. But it has to be done in a nonviolent way. It has to be done in a way that we're setting an example and where we're still being focused on the primary things, and that's accountability, that is making sure that there is justice, and that there is peace. And there is a way to accomplish that. We saw how much was accomplished during the civil rights era, but there's more work to be done. So we can't stop what we're doing. We have to be intentional, we have to be strategic, and we have to make sure that we're setting examples. And my husband and I, we were out this weekend, and we were at very positive marches and protests where people of all colors and nationalities came together, and we had real talk. And we had our youth who came up and they talked about their own experiences in the school system, where they were being discriminated, where they weren't being, where the minorities in the schools were not being looked at for the gifted and talented programs, as if they're not gifted and talented. They are gifted and talented. They talked about the different conversations that their parents had to have with them as new drivers, as brown and black young men and women, versus a household of maybe a white person might have with their teens who are new drivers, because their parents had to tell them what to do if they're pulled over by the police, to make sure that we wouldn't see their faces on the news because they had lost their lives because of police brutality. I don't believe that any race of people or any type of professionals are all bad. I don't believe all policemen are bad. I don't believe all white Americans are bad or anything like that. I believe that people are people. We have the best of humanity and we have the worst of humanity. And they come in all different forms and fashions, and they work in all different places, and they do all different things. They're in our schools, they're in our workplaces, they're in our grocery stores, they're our lawyers, our doctors, they're everywhere. And so I don't believe in putting anybody in a box, but I do believe that we do need to hold the police officers accountability. We need to change some laws, some policies and procedures. We need to do a lot of different things, because I've seen how the criminal justice system personally, how there's a difference between when we go before the judge and when others go before the judge. I saw that with my sister, who was unfairly jailed by the police officers, and she had no chance. Her peers and the people that were in the courtroom, they didn't look like us, and the decision had already been made.
Yes. ShaNita, you are right. I think we definitely, Power, Peace, and Love, we advocate for equality, for peace, for all of this that we need. And I see that is, as a society, are we failing? What do we need in order to get equality and to be, treated uh, like the way it should be?
It's going to, Irma, it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of intention, and we got to get the right leaders in place. This is an opportunity for the real leaders to rise. This is an opportunity. And if we don't, again, if we don't use the power of the vote, if we don't mobilize, if we don't fight in a strategic, nonviolent manner to overturn some of the laws that have been in place for centuries that don't even make sense in the 21st century in the first place, things that are biased towards minorities and brown and black people or whomever, we need to make some changes in that. And we, whether we have to lobby, write, March, whatever. It's going to be a lot of different things that's going to have to be done. It's not one solution, but I do believe that one of the primary solutions is love. We have to be loved no matter what. We have to model love, and we have to work together collectively, because when we rise, everyone rise. If we all lift and help one another up and understand that we all have intrinsic value and worth, and it doesn't matter what our skin complexion look like, it doesn't matter what our nationality is, it doesn't matter what our sex is, but we have to believe that about ourselves as well. And a lot of times, because we have bought into the lies that have been told generation after generation after generation, then we don't even have the energy to fight for ourselves, because we don't even believe it ourselves. We don't believe that we're worthy.
Yes, absolutely. Love prevails.
Yes.
We have to work hard
Yes.
to make it happen.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yes. ShaNita, changing our subject a little bit, because I see that you're wearing your crown. I have to ask about you being elected Mrs. Virginia 2020. Please tell us all about it.
Okay, I sure will. So the pageant that I'm associated with it is called the MMBA pageant, and it is actually a pageant for married couples, although they do have non-married individuals that are part of the pageant as well. They have a Miss, they have a Mr. and Mrs., and then they have a Mr. as well. And the thing that really drew me to this particular pageant is that it believed in strong marriages, strong communities, strong families, and strong economies. So it aligned with my values, because those are things that are near and dear to me and that I advocate for myself. And being a married woman, that gave me and my king an opportunity to serve together, which is one of the most favorite things that I enjoy doing, is serving in my community, serving others and making a difference. And this is something that we can co-labor as one unit together to make a difference and to create a legacy of love and service, and just to change the world, to be transformational leaders, servant leaders. So that's what really excited me about this opportunity. I just had a tour, a warrior tour, a couple of weeks ago, and so I had explained back in, what was it, like 1999, I was actually Miss Virginia, but I wasn't married. I was young then. I'm still young, but and I was supposed to go to Vegas because, there's a national competition that takes place when you're in these pageants. So I was supposed to go to Vegas to compete for the national competition, but I was in a really bad automobile accident with one of my school friends. And so I was incapacitated and I was unable to participate in the competition. And so just in February of 2019, my husband and I were in Vegas celebrating his birthday, and we passed by this hotel where they were supposed to have this national competition. It's called the Flamingo Hotel, and it's right on the Vegas Strip. But let me tell you, that hotel looks like a dump right now. The Flamingo was no longer bright pink. But when I saw it, it made me remember, that, back in 1990, whatever, that I was Miss Virginia. So I was telling my husband about it. And then when we came back, I started seeing the advertisements about this MMBA pageant. And I'm never hardly on social media. I'm pursuing a doctoral degree, and I'm very busy. And so I don't really have a lot of time to be on social media. But when I'm in the doctor's office or I'm at the nurse, if I don't have a book with me, I might skim through social media. So I saw it. And the thing, as I mentioned earlier, that really drew me to this pageant was that it's a pageant with a purpose, and it's to build the legacies and the strong marriages and community. So it wasn't like the other pageant where you had to put on the swimsuit and do all this stuff. This is really no competition. It's about making a difference. It's about changing lives, transforming lives. And it's about unity and people coming together, but not in the spirit of competition, but in the spirit of love. And in recognizing and using the gifts and the talents and abilities that you've been given, and using and being focused on your purpose, and allowing the platform and the pageant to propel you forward into your destiny as you continue to serve and do the things that you were created to do. So that was a no-brainer for me. This is something that I want to be a part of, something bigger than me, with like-minded people that want to make a difference, that look like me, who understand that there's enough. They have an abundance mindset, not a scarcity mindset. They understand we don't need to compete. We need to help each other, and we need to lift each other. And as we lift, we rise together. And so that is why I became a part of this pageant. I knew they asked me, well, how did you feel when you found out that you were actually nominated as Mrs. Virginia? I said, I already knew it. I wasn't surprised. I was like, I kept saying, when are these people going to contact me?
Right.
So I was confident in myself. I believed that this was part of my destiny because I had been praying, I'm a woman of faith, that God would expand my impact and my influence so that I can be able to do the work in the earth that I was purposed and created to do. And this platform allows me that opportunity to facilitate that and to do it with like-minded individuals who are also out there actively working and dedicated to building lives and communities and families and healing and transformation and love, all of those things that resonate with me and my values.
That sounds just beautiful, beautiful. So, what's next for you? I mean, in this, now that you've been elected and you have you know, a job to do, I guess.
Yes, I have a job to do, and the job is it's everything that I could have imagined, and it's aligned with what I already do. I'm already always out there serving my community and making a difference. So my particular platform is focused on mental health and wellness and well-being, and also blended families. My husband and I, we have a beautiful blended family of 4 children, and pregnancy loss recovery. We had a set of twin boys that we lost that were born prematurely, who lived for 3 days. And then afterwards, I suffered 4 miscarriages. And so one of my many ministries at church is pregnancy loss recovery, to help women to heal after they have lost a child. And so that is something that's very near and dear to me. It's very near and dear to my husband because we experienced those losses differently, but we still felt the pain all the same. And just to be able to help people to navigate through that pain is important.
Wow. Yeah, how interesting is that? I mean, it's important to have those things. I'm sorry about your loss, and yes, it's so nice to have that kind of support.
Yes.
Yes. And ShaNita, our final question will be a message for our audience. And we're going to say hi to Carla and to Arisbeth that they're here. Hi, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for watching.
Of course. And what is your message to our audience and where we can find you?
My message is that in this life, there are no limitations except the limitations we place on ourselves. In life, it's not what we get or don't get that makes us valuable. It is what we become in the process that really brings value to our lives. And as we become more valuable, we should make it our mission to help people, others, to become more valuable and to discover their worth. If you would like to follow me, I'm on Facebook and I'm also on Instagram. Also, I would like to invite you to get my book. It's on ShaNitaNolan.com on my website. You can purchase it. You can download the first chapter. My book is called Indestructible: Journey from Pain to Promise, and it's volume 1 of a 3-series book.
That is wonderful. Of course, of course. And we have a question over here where we can get information about the organization that helps women after they lost a
For
child.
the pregnancy loss, you
Huh?
can contact me directly. I'll give all my information to Irma, and you can contact me, and I'll be happy to connect with you, and we will begin the healing and transformation process because it is a process.
Yes, and we're gonna say hi to my sister Imelda de Isidros from Veracruz, from Mexico, and thank you for being here. Thank you everybody for being here, and ShaNita, we really appreciate you being here tonight. Thank you for taking the time and share with us your knowledge and wave at us as a queen that you are. Oh my goodness. See? That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Thank you very much. And we're going to invite everybody to follow ShaNita in her social media. And I'm Irma Vera for Power, Peace, and Love, where real stories of real people are shared. And thank you, ShaNita. Follow us in our social media, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. Write to us at hellopowerpeaceandlove.com. And thank you very much, ShaNita.
You're very welcome. Thank you. It's my pleasure, my privilege, and an honor to be here tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.